Yamaha presents the new flagship of its sport touring segment. For the first time, there are features such as adaptive cruise control and intelligent brake support on board a Yamaha, or for the first time ever on board a motorcycle. How well this works in practical use was tested in Sardinia. The top class of touring bikes offers technology in overflow. Radar-assisted cruise control, blind spot assistance, and much more below the 1,200 cubic centimeter and 25,000 euro high-tech on the motorcycle, but becomes much rarer. Yamaha, however, does not own a motorcycle in the upper class of motorcycles suitable for touring, but still wants to move with the times. The Tracer 9 GT, Yamaha's sport touring flagship, is immensely important for the brand. 20% of all Yamaha sales are due to the Tracer. As a full 150,000 units have crossed the counter worldwide since its launch in 2015. Now it's set to keep up with the high-end bikes, at least in terms of electronics, and brings upper-class technology to the midsize segment. At the first presentation of the Tracer 9 GT Plus in Sardinia, 210 mainly twisty kilometers are taken under the wheels in the best weather. The Sardinian roads are made for motorcyclists, and here the agile, lively Tracer 9 GT Plus feels at ease. This is also not at all a revelation, because driving dynamics, there is almost no difference to the normal Tracer 9 GT. The ergonomics of the Tracer 9 GT Plus is well done despite 223 kilogram, but clearly more than many other sport tourer, it feels extremely agile in all riding situations. Add to that the lively CP33 straight 3-cylinder, which produces 119 horsepower at 10,000 RPM, 93 Newton meter at 7,000 RPM. And with its revving joy and somewhat mangy, wild character from the middle of the rev range, it's a real fun unit. The semi-active suspension creates a good spread between comfortable and sporty depending on which of the two settings you choose. The brakes are finely controllable and biting enough, but notorious late brakemen will wish for more potent goods. Ambitious stokers will also want more lean angle clearance. But for me and 90% of the riders out there, this is enough for real riding fun. What is really good is the new adjustment of the semi-active suspension during acceleration and braking. During deceleration, the damping of the upside-down fork is increased, which makes it dip much less when the throttle is applied, the strut hardens, and the rear sinks in less. The result of this anti-D-dive technology is a very stable ride, allowing the agile machine to be steered into the radius with extreme precision, with a lot of confidence. And almost without any setup torque, you brake deep into the corner and can apply the throttle there in a sporty manner without bringing movement or instability into the vehicle. If you overdo it, then lean angle dependent traction control and cornering a BS are in hand. What could be better is the wind protection of the adjustable windshield, which directs the wind at eye level to the helmet of the rider with a body height of 1.85 meters in the high position. In addition, the stability of the vehicle at high speeds from 150 to 160 km per hour and beyond could be improved. In sum, a great touring motorcycle with massive fun factor. The riding dynamics on the Tracer 9 GT have also always scored well in past tests, but not everything was bliss on the periphery, especially in terms of electronics. On the Tracer 9 GT Plus, the split-screen display reminiscent of Thaddeus from SpongeBob finally shines out at you, but instead the ultra-modern and contemporary 7-inch TFT display from the T-Max scooter. Aside from being worlds better to read, features like smartphone connectivity and even Garmin navigation mirroring are now on board. To connect the smartphone, you need the Yamaha MyRide app, and to use 3D navigation from Garmin, you need the paid Garmin Motorized app. Everything is also no longer controlled by a hooky rotary wheel, as the dash and switch units have also been redesigned. The 5-way joystick makes it much more intuitive and easier to navigate through the menus, which are extremely rich and in-depth. The driving modes are also no longer labeled with meaningless numbers, but have understandable names like Street, Sport, Rain, and Custom. The parameters of the 4-stage throttle response, 3-stage traction control, 3-stage wheelie control, 3-stage stability control, and the 2-stage suspension are linked to the driving modes. In custom mode, each parameter can be set according to your own preferences. In addition, the display can also show 3 different layouts and offers a USB port just below the TFT. Other innovations include the saddle, which is adjustable between 820 and 835 millimeter, and now makes it easier to reach the ground thanks to a slightly different shape. In driving, the Yamaha quickshifter scores points, which is always thrilled with crisp shifting in all positions except at the lowest speeds. But now in the third generation, can also downshift under acceleration and upshift when the throttle is closed. The most exciting new features, however, are definitely Yamaha's first distance regulating cruise control and the ever-unique radar-linked unified brake system. Adaptive cruise control, or radar-assisted adaptive cruise control, is already familiar from motorcycle models such as the Ducati Multistrada V4S or the KTM 1290 Super Adventure S. In the middle class of touring motorcycles, however, this feature has so far been sought in vain. Yamaha developed this system for the first time for a motorcycle and has put a lot of thought into it. The adaptive cruise control uses the radar unit located between headlights to detect vehicles in front of the motorcycle. If a vehicle is approaching, speed is automatically reduced above a certain distance without the rider lifting a finger. The system reduces the speed very gently and progressively to avoid startling moments. First, the accelerator is released and the engine brake is used. Then the brakes are applied. The distance to the vehicle in front can be set in 4 stages. These are not fixed distances, but intervals over time. The furthest stage maintains a distance of 2 seconds, the closest 1 second, at a speed of 100 km per hour. This is 54 and 27 meters, respectively. Overtaking maneuvers are also possible with ACC because as soon as the left turn signal is activated, the system begins to accelerate gently. The overtaking process thus takes much longer than manually performed, but even a truck is overtaken without touching the throttle grip. To ensure that the Tracer 9G Plus remains as stable as possible during the various maneuvers, the semi-active suspension again plays a role. The cruise control works between 30 and 160 km per hour and can therefore also be used in local areas or on country roads to prevent the system from accelerating again on blind curves that briefly obscure the traffic in front of you. The adaptive cruise control no longer accelerates above a certain lean angle. Only when you straighten up, and provided you have a clear path, does the bike resume the set speed. Another great feature is that gear changes are also possible without the system being terminated, and without quick shifter. This is very handy for more severe deceleration, for example, in dusty conditions where you are slowed down from a higher speed to below 50 km per hour. As soon as the 6th gear no longer fits, the system indicates this, and a quick kick on the quick shifter is enough to continue at slow speed with cruise control. If the traffic jam clears up, the motorcycle accelerates again and you shift up again. You can also shift down 2 or 3 gears for faster overtaking maneuvers to take advantage of the power of the higher engine speeds. If you prefer to shift manually, that's also possible. The system's only deactivated by pressing the clutch lever for 1 second. The radar-linked unified brake system is the second major technology innovation, and not just on the Tracer 9GP Plus, but worldwide. This is an active brake support system that detects obstacles with the radar unit and then enables the most optimal braking maneuvers possible. But beware, a clear distinction must be made between adaptive cruise control and the unified brake system. Because while the Tracer decelerates and brakes by itself when the cruise control is switched on, it never does so without ACC. The UBS is only active when the driver is already braking manually. At least one brake must be applied at the front and a rear so that the UBS scans the road in front of the motorcycle by radar. If it detects an obstacle, it can use the many sensors on the bike to calculate whether it is worth braking before you crash into the obstacle. If this is not the case, the brakes are applied progressively and the braking process already initiated is intensified and optimized. The system works similarly to an old combination brake, but more intelligently. Thanks to the lean angle sensor, traction control, and ABS, the UBS also knows whether it's a good idea to brake at the front or rear at that moment and acts accordingly. Of course, such emergency systems are difficult to test without risking life and limb. During the test drive, the rider deliberately approaches the colleague in front of him several times at a short distance in order to observe the reaction of the UBS system. In fact, at a distance of 3 to 5 meters, the system engages the brakes and decelerates. As with ACC, this happens progressively and not too vehemently. Later, when cornering more rapidly, it even happens involuntarily that you trigger the UBS. Before hairpin bends and sharp curves, and with tighter gaps in the group, the system also gets too tight. An orange collision warning even pops up on the display if the car is hit too roughly with a higher speed difference. For safety reasons, you should always keep a certain distance, but if you like to duel or want to take the Tracer 9GT Plus to the racetrack and do not want any electronic influence, you just have to deactivate the brake control in the menu, and the Tracer 9GT Plus brakes, again, quite conventionally. Just by this activation, I see only advantages in the unified brake system. If it disturbs, then you can simply switch it off, but during emergency braking, you are not immune to mistakes as an average rider, perhaps forgetting at that moment on the rear brake, or does not operate the brakes fully, and that can have dramatic consequences. UBS system can come to the rescue here and is worth it if it avoids even one accident. Let's talk about price and availability of the Yamaha Tracer 9G Plus 2023. For the upgrades of the GT Plus, the new TFT display, the revised electronics, the anti-dive technology of the suspension, the adaptive cruise control, and the brake support, Yamaha charges a premium of €1,900 in Austria compared to the standard GTD. This price puts the Tracer 9 GT Plus at €18,399. In Germany, the model is priced at €16,899, and in Switzerland at 17,190 Swiss francs. Availability at dealers is planned from June 2023. Conclusion on the Yamaha Tracer 9 GT Plus 2023. In terms of riding dynamics, the Yamaha Tracer 9G Plus remains almost identical to the normal GT and is accordingly a lively, very agile, fun bike with good touring qualities. The engine is rev-happy, the semi-active suspension stable, and the ergonomics successful. The new anti-dive system on the suspension is also a delight when you're happily chasing curves. The eye-catchers on the GT Plus, however, are the gigantic TFT display, the adaptive cruise control, and the intelligent brake support system. All in all, a successful further development of the Yamaha Tracer 9 GT. Thank you for watching. If you have any questions, comment below. We will try to answer everything. To make sure you don't miss a video, subscribe to our channel and stay tuned.